Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. As always, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Commander Cockins. On this very last of the February reviews of this season of Star Trek Discovery, Stuart, it is the end of this era. Conclusion. The epic conclusion. At least the conclusion. How are you doing? What's the episode called? And let's discuss it in our full review format.
I'm doing fine, thank you for asking. My throat's a little raw and sore, and I developed a cough yesterday afternoon, so I apologize if I cough or I'm kind of gruff.
Is it all that built up volcanic acid that's going to erupt when you?
Yeah, I was inhaling too many fumes, like
Yeah.
Tilly. But no, this is episode 15. Will You Take My Hand? The very last episode of season 1 of Discovery, and no more Discovery till 2019, from what I hear. So that's kind of a shame. But anyway.
So what did you think, Stuart, of this episode? Season finale.
Okay, so the first half I was kind of interested in. I really was enjoying quite a few aspects of it. There was a few character developing moments and things like that. But halfway through it kind of hit a rocky road. The pacing was all over the place. The storytelling kind of went and just went off the rails. It just didn't follow the plan that they had established in the last episode, in my opinion. And it looks like they tidied things up really hastily and just tied up a lot of loose ends really quickly at the end. And as it was approaching the very end of the episode, I was very disappointed. Just in the storytelling overall, because they really just, Klingon War is over, wrap that up, done, brush it under the carpet. That being said, great speech at the end by Burnham, and definitely brought Discovery back around to Gene Roddenberry's vision of a hopeful future, and just the way that they dealt with the situation. And then, just when I thought all hope was lost, the magical moment happened, and I was like, yes! And I got really excited. So the very end was really good, but like I said, the 20 minutes there, kind of at the end, the last half was kind of all over the place for me, especially pacing-wise. It just felt sloppy and just disorganized. So that's where I stand.
I think I'll work out what I feel by the end of this whole review, because we tend to sort of solidify what we think a bit more. I tend to. Yeah, it's weird. I liked it. I enjoyed it as a piece. It's not what they... Although if you watch the trailer, obviously, it is exactly what they said, but it's very much not what they implied this episode was going to be. We talked about, they're going to bomb the planet, this big thing. No, it's a really small, somewhat cheap-fitting episode beyond the new sets, and sets are actually not as not as expensive as they could be. And again, very easy resolutions, and I think this is an episode that speaks to, they wrote themselves into a corner from a hastily rewritten season, and it really shows. And if something can be as quickly undone as this, in this way, it devalues the entire war. But it was a stupid war to begin with, and it kind of, they obviously worked out the war was dumb and the reasons for it were dumb, and they had to stop it because it wasn't going to work for more. So they said, I'm just going to finish it. Cool, done. Cool, moving on. I think. And now they've got a fresh slate to season 2, because we didn't give a damn about the war. It was poorly done, and moving on.
Pretty much.
So we start with a fleet of Klingon. Well, no, I say that. This is meant to be the Klingon fleet, but it's like, and they say later on, the fleet's approaching Earth. It's 5 ships.
Yeah, and it would be one of the Klingon houses, I guess, that are...
Yeah, it should have been like a big fleet. But then the best part of this episode, bar maybe the end, we see a zoom in and we see Spacedock under construction. I had to stop it to go to the room and say, Dad, the best reference to Discovery. We see Spacedock. And it's like, yeah, it looks like the same thing.
I was so pumped when I saw that. I was like, yes, they got it right. And this isn't Starbase 1 that they referred to in the last episode. People have been complaining, where was that? Because it looked like an orbit of Earth.
No, it didn't. I dispute that completely.
Anyway, so yes, I'm glad to see Spacedock under construction.
You're glad to see canon?
I am.
Visual canon in Star Trek? Those are sort of references that we hoped the show would be. Using what came before to enhance the world. that space station being constructed took nothing to do really, because it's a very low res model. You can tell it's just it's almost in the background of this shot, but it adds so much. That's what you needed, Discovery. It's sad that right at the end you got it better. You know, it's like calling a D7 a B7. That's a nice reference then, because it's a B7. It's the alternate. You know, it's the battlecruiser version of the 7. That's cool. You know, good references. So well done. I'm pleased season 2 swap and be better.
Yeah,
it was great.
Exactly. Yeah. And this shot, this establishing shot was cool, zooming into Earth, you know, past Jupiter, past Mars. And then once you get to Earth, zoom back out and you got Kronos, which was fantastic. And only one ship on the way to Kronos. Again, as you said, and as I said, really didn't follow through with the plan that they had established in the last episode, where they're going to gather the fleet, Spore Drive in, and then have the fleet attack the assets on the surface. That's kind of the vibe I got from the last episode for the plan.
Well, that's the problem, though, is that's the plan to everybody, but the actual plan is just to blow up the planet. Spoilers, but that is the plan. So there is no other plan, so there is no fleet coming, so I guess that makes sense. It's like they just tell everyone, they lie to everyone, and then get to do something, and then, oh no, it's not a plan. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was disappointing, to say the least, but...
Although it shows how Discovery is a one-weapon. All it needs to do is a simple mission, and it can destroy a planet. Boop, that easy.
Yeah,
like, oh,
and even Discovery's whole involvement in this episode was very disappointing.
Yeah, but it was a great first shot, though.
It was awesome. And then we meet Captain and really, I was starting to kind of like her character in the last episode, and because I've never really liked her character, just want to say that last episode I started to kind of like her again, or again for the first time, and then this episode just pissed all over that. I absolutely hated her within like a minute and a half of watching this. You know, she's like, "Don't call it the home world; it is the enemy's planet," or
because they're animals.
Yes. And then she goes off on Saru about, you know, him being tough. And he's like, yes, it might even be called unpalatable.
Palatable. Yeah, it's kind of comical writing. It's like they have this great chance for subtlety, and yet they went the absolute opposite. They went for a character... The internal character choice of this Emperor was, I'm just going to be totally blatant. Just gonna bitch at everybody and see if they notice. Since they know we've just been to the universe, they know this is an obvious possibility if they really sort of double think it through. But it's like, yeah, she wasn't really trying to hide it. Just being like, it would have been fine if it was just the two that knew, as like snarky, ha ha ha, Burnham, ha 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 ha. But no, it's like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Everyone shut up, shut up. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up.
Bad, shoot that bomb at Kronos. No. Spell the Q correctly.
And then she just goes off on Burnham saying, you know, if you ever try to call me out again, blah, blah, blah. And I hate her. I hate everything about her. But it does lead up to a really beautiful thing that I've been waiting for forever. A beautiful flyby of Discovery. Yeah. You get a low rumble. It's very much a TNG, the Enterprise going past the camera.
Just really dark.
You know, it still looked good though. Mm-hmm. It was longer than we've seen most space scenes, and I was really impressed with it. So, need to do more of this. And this episode was pretty good for that kind of thing. So
yes, we got some decent CG. And it's worth noting that we are 12 light years from Kronos. The zoomy shot was more aesthetic rather than real, because you can't visually zoom in 12 light years. That's silly. But 12 light years, they got 12 light years. I'm assuming they jumped into 12 light years like a few minutes before that. Because 12 light years, they'll have Kronos will have sensor platforms, they'll have sensor grids, they'll have ships on patrol, cloaked ships, because they have cloaked ships. I mean, they couldn't be there for more than a few minutes, you'd assume, before getting detected, because, you know, Earth can detect, because, you know, Earth did detect the entire fleet coming at standard warp. I guess they weren't cloaked. I guess they can detect cloaked. Yeah, so there's a very lack of threat in this episode, I'll say that now. At no point is anyone in danger, despite being at the Klingon home world, with the Klingon armada, 24 houses of ships, and a ship that cannot defeat any of them in a standard combat situation, yet no threat and no danger at any point, despite clearly silly situation. And again, I'm really only thinking about this now. It's like 12 lights is a bit. At least they weren't right next to it, which I thought they were going to say. It's like, we're 1 light year away. It's like, sure, no, you're not. No, you're not. But 12, at least there's something. But still, it's like,
True. And then we jump into the brig, and here the Emperor and Burnham are talking to L'Rell. They're trying to get information about where their landing party should be up from, because they're they're going to be inside the planet. They need access to the cave system so they can launch this drone, which can do its thing. And L'Rell's not very eager to help. She's like, "Hey, we feasted on you. How you doing? I see you need some seasoning."
That was a good line.
Yeah, double meaning there, but really, really well played.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, she kind of gets owned by the Empress a little bit.
Yeah, not really a Klingon warrior. Doesn't even try and fight. I know she's been in captivity,
she's
lack of fed.
restrained.
Well, she's
when the grid went off, those things shocked her. So I don't know if they locked into place or whatever, but she was pretty much arms at her side the whole time, kind of thing. So.
Okay, yeah, sure. It's just a bit weird to see you beat up on a Klingon if their defense is even less honourable. And it wasn't. She's not thinking honour, but it was a bit like, wow, this proud Klingon race getting beaten up in a cell, and not even being like, I'll stop you. Like, imagine the Duras sisters getting beaten up. They'd be throwing taunts. It just shows how weak these Klingons are, you know.
Yeah. Although she did laugh when she was on the ground and her face was all bleeding. That's something L'Rell and B'Etor would have done. They would have had blood and they would have been like.
they did it. Yeah. No. It's just. Again, they keep sort of going out of the character of Klingons and then sort of sliding back in vaguely, but yeah. But I mean, how bored must she be, L'Rell?
Right? Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so they don't get any information from her, so they move on to Ash Tyler because he has all of Vox's memories, and he's there making a little knot thing. The first thing that... How do you explain it?
First thing I remember doing as a kid?
Yeah. So
learned as a kid?
It's the thing that makes him him.
Would have been nice to have seen that earlier, because, set up some payoffs, but hey.
Yeah. And this is really a great scene where she's talking to him, or she's talking to Burnham about it, not him, and says, he's been neutered as a Klingon and he's been tarnished as a human. So what good is he to us? What good is he to anyone? And it's a really good point because that's exactly what this character is right now. And I like how he's like, I'm not going to help you, but I'll help. And he's going to say her, but then he said Starfleet. It was just a nice, interesting scene.
It's so weird though, because you say, obviously the Empress looking at it a certain way, but I see Ash as a really valuable person. The fact that he chose Starfleet, yes, you can't trust him fully, but choosing one side with all the memories of the Klingons, it's like you've got all the Starfleet training, plus all the Klingon training, plus all the Klingon memories, plus all the Starfleet memories. Are you kidding? He's a huge tactical advantage. He probably understands how, he wouldn't necessarily, but he might understand how ships are put together. There's no idea what Volk knew, although it was a disrespected half, no one liked him. So, okay, yes, limited knowledge, but still, huge resource. Especially if you haven't been to the Klingon homeworld in 100 years. He knows their life and how they live, ABCs. So it's weird they just dismiss him that much, but yeah, still a good scene, yeah.
And then I guess this room is on Discovery.
Yep.
Because last time we were wondering if that was on a starbase, but apparently it's a room in Discovery. we see them trying to, getting his information about the access points, because all of their information are dependent on black market surveys collected by the Vulcans over 100 years ago, which is a great nod to 100 years ago when Archer was there. Yeah. And he talks about they have to look for the entrance to this one shrine, Malor, who Kayla's defeated, and then those shrines were kind of abolished and hidden, which is a nice reference.
Yeah, he references, and he even mentions the High Council chamber. So I guess they do have a High Council in this warring time. Still have a central unification leadership, or just not used very much. I mean, yeah.
Well, anyway, we find out that the best entrance point is actually one of the spots where the Orion Embassy outpost has been located.
Pure right, Orions. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense to have embassies and things on foreign soil. So does the Federation have an outpost? I don't think so.
No. I mean, in Star Trek Online, the Orions specifically have been taken over by the Klingons. And if you look at their cultures, not too similar, but their ethical nature can be closer. And what better, people to have an embassy on your planet than the smugglers of the galaxy, So,
yeah. I love how the Orions are pretty much the same in both universes.
Yeah. And then, a great scene. They say, one extra person on our team. It is Tilly. And she's so excited to see the... Oh, your mirror. Shit.
Yeah.
And then the best moment of the episode, she tries to salute, and then they're like, no, don't do it.
Just don't do that. Yeah.
But isn't that cute? So cute.
It was a great scene, because I love Tilly. You guys know that. I love how they mentioned Montaka 3, how you helped me wipe out Montaka 3. And she's like, I'm not the same Tilly in this universe, just so you know. I love how Giorgio's even like about her hair, like, oh, this is awful.
Well, because they knew each other. That's a great piece. I forgot about that. It's like, yeah, obviously Captain Kelly was famous.
Yeah.
So obviously, no, that was nice. And she knows what Kelly's capable of. Although not in the science field, because I doubt Kelly got there by being science. So I'm not sure. Like, she wants her for her vicious tactical skills. You're actually getting a timid ensign science officer to guard this drone. Maybe not the right choice for the mission, but she thinks she's the right choice. And she doesn't really do that much plot-wise. Like, she's just there to be the funny other side. Like, it could have been anybody. Good it was her. Yay for comedy, but it could have been anybody.
Yeah. She also makes reference to how she looks younger than Captain Killy, but killing people will age you. So
common problem. Yeah.
And then they gotta find stuff to trade when they're on the planet. And she's like, I'm sure Gabriel's found some good stuff in this universe. And she, for a fact, she's headed straight to his lab. So next scene, we see the reservoir dogs of Star Trek walking through the corridor, dressed all in black and looking mean. Again, it's a great walk. I love how Tilly kind of steps in between Tyler and Burnham to kind of show her solidarity for Burnham. That was really cool. But yeah, interesting scene anyway.
And then we see them spore in. Boom, pretty successful. I do like Stamets' personality here. It's the only scene he gets the entire episode. I guess if he's not sporing, he's not important, unfortunately.
Last time it was an alternate universe. This time it's a cave based on a 100-year-old map. I'm good. Let's go.
Although, to be fair, this should be pretty easy compared to all, doing 177 jumps and never actually,
133
hitting.
Jumps.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually not that difficult, especially if you can see the mycelium lack of space, so it's not.
Yeah, when they jump in, the ship kind of goes... Ooh.
Where's gravity? That's
Yeah, it was really well done. And then we found out that these are stabilizer beams. The stabilizer beams have compensated for the gravity of the planet. So there must be some kind of force field or a tractor beam kind of thing.
Yeah, reverse tractor beam. Yeah, pusher beam. There you go.
Pusher beam. Yeah. Well, you can do both on tractor beam.
I know.
But yeah, it's great seeing. That's kind of all we see of Discovery on the planet.
Yep.
Or in the planet, which is really disappointing. I expected more to be going on.
And we assume they're in the planet the whole rest of the episode, just chilling out. Cool.
Kerplunking.
Just hanging out. Sorry, I was like, wish I could do more. It's not like I've got a device. It's not like I've got a ship that can take me anywhere in the galaxy at any point.
Yeah. Right. The next scene was cool. They beam in, and you get a very cool pan in through the atmosphere all the way to the city, right to the beam-in point and at street level. Awesomely done. That was really cool.
There's two very nicely done beam-ins. Although I wish they'd rather be as green and murky and kind of not what I would consider Kronos looking like. Have been more like going to those TNG building. This is obviously the Orion set, but it would be nice if it was like Orion structure set with those classic Klingon buildings that like a big city outside of it. That would have been nice to see. Like, I mean, later on the Federation version is glorious. I mean, that would have been nice to see. Like, that's from TNG. Well, my question is, unauthorized beaming into a Orion facility that no one either hears, sees, notices, detects. Clearly Federation beaming. Why is there no alarms tripped? Why is the Klingon Defense Force not showing up? Because it's unauthorized. Why is there no sensors? Why is there nobody even... How are they beaming in without anybody noticing?
Well, they'd be looking for beam-ins from orbit. I don't think they'd be looking for beam-ins from underneath.
I think it's just beam-in signal. I don't think it's just
so.
the energy of a beam-in. I mean, beaming is a hugely power-intensive thing. They're rematerializing molecules. And the detection of said signature would be either way. You could detect on the planet or the ship.
I disagree with you there, especially within the Orion sector. I think there would be like a sensor thing around the planet if there was a beam coming through, but not up from the bottom. And I don't think it's not inside an embassy. It's not inside the Klingon sphere of influence necessarily. I don't think the Orions really give a shit because they're dealing with sketchy stuff all the time. They're always
which is why they'd be more monitored, wouldn't they? They'd be more keen to not allow people. They wouldn't say yes, let anybody beam in anything anytime. I just thought that's a kind of a plot hole. It's like it's if anyone can beam in, it really neuters again. There's no risk here. Kronos. So you're saying on Earth that if you beamed in to underneath Etna and then beamed back out in Starfleet headquarters in Starfleet Embassy, the outside building. There'd be no security saying, oops, unidentified Klingon beaming signature 1 centimetre from our embassy. Like, no, we're not gonna have sensors around our embassy. No. Anyone can beam it, I don't care, it's all safe. No, I just thought that'd be like, oh, come on guys, Klingon homeworld, give it more credence here,
Well, they're not near the embassy, they're just in the Orion section, so... Anyway, I disagree with you.
Okay.
But I did think the same thing when they beamed in, and I thought, nah, I don't think they would have detected it. So.
It's just another too easy and has no threat. This whole episode is very easy. Like,
exactly.
Very, very easy.
Exactly, and the humans just wandering around on Kronos, and even the Klingons acknowledging them as humans and all this. It's very...
Well, one Klingon that does ignore them, though, is the one that's peeing out of 2 holes, I guess. Because Klingons now have canonical devil pee streams.
Well, they do have a lot of redundancies medically. Yeah. We know that. Another nice nod, really... Quickly panned over here. Pardon the pun, pan. But the SETI eels in the frying pan cooking up. That was a nice little nod as well. So.
Yep, perfect. I guess they're tasty for Klingons, sure. Although, keep them around is well, dangerous and also very clever. Yeah, good job. And then you get this bar. Now, I'm happy that this environment, this set, didn't feel like Tatooine. Because there's been a tendency of sci-fi films and TV to sort of accidentally replicate that vibe of Star Wars. This was unique. It was different. It was other sci-fis, but it wasn't Star Wars, bar the holograms.
Here she's like, tell her what she has. Gnostic and disruptor pistols with a paralithium power cell, beam and pulse fire modes. I love how Tilly's like, I'm kind of, all this, illegal arms dealing is making me hungry. Is anybody else interested? Anyone? Just to kind of get away to talk to Burnham. And then she's snacking on something that's really delicious.
Yep.
What is she snacking on?
It might actually be a Gormagander. Yeah, the nice big space whale they met earlier. The rare ones they say.
Poor Tilly.
But it's delicious if you ever want to know, guys.
Yeah.
See, that's a good reference. That's one of the first good internal references, I think.
Yeah. And there's even a reference.
But it was good.
There's even a bit of a TOS reference here when the Emperor is like,
yes,
all this bread and circuses isn't helping us. Well, maybe the circus is it. I just love that. It's actually, that was perfect.
Well, it's an episode name of TOS, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that was great. It stood out like a sore thumb because people don't talk like that, but it was great.
Yeah.
That was great. And then into this bar, and it's a in-between bar, strip joint, have fun, whatever. I like how ambiguous it is, actually. It's just a Ryan house of whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. And those were Orion's dancers, even though they didn't really look too green in the trailer.
Honestly, I think they color graded the green out so that we couldn't tell, because that'd be a giveaway. Like it's Orion's is a nice, like, it's a... You know what I mean? And I guess, I mean, as we know, the Orion slave girls, because in Enterprise the canon is that the women control the men. In TOS, the men control the women because they're the revolution. So I guess 10 years before TOS, you can have male strippers as well. It's fine. Because they seem to be equally stripper prostitute people. So that's good. Equality in this time before we also have slave women. He could just be a slave man. It's cool. It's all good. It's all good. And what does Giorgio do?
She wanted to get some information.
Well, sure to get some other stuff too.
Probably. And I love how Tilly didn't get involved. She's like, no, thank you, no, thank you.
I'm fine, just here.
Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, and then we see the next scene. There's some Klingons playing a game, which translate to obliterate them. And I love how Ash is sitting back with Burnham, and he's like, I know how to play this game. I think I'm really good at it. And she kind of looks pained because, of course,
yep.
He's referring to his Klingon side, but he really gets involved. He really knows how to deal with the Klingons. A human speaking Klingon, which he says later is a novelty around here, obviously. And he starts pushing them around and stuff. So they're really like, come on, let's play the game.
This is probably the best scene of the episode, just in terms of it works 100%.
Yeah. Like, it's
well played, well written, well characterized. The Klingons are fun. You can definitely see that being a Martok, being a Worf on Kronos. And Ash is so into it because he's been so repressed and so against the Klingon side, but he's now at this really unique piece. Like, he doesn't know which way to go, but he's also got in a piece of both sides make sense that they're themselves. So now he's yet to embrace that Klingon side, and it was like, but embrace it in his human way. It's interesting, yeah. Seeing speak fluent Klingon is really fun, and that he's abated well in the game, and it's interesting that these Klingons didn't try and kill him straight away. There isn't, like I said in the last episode, there isn't this genocidal need. A human isn't the problem. The Federation is the problem. There is a distinction. It's not a race war per se. It's an ideological war based on stupid racist principles with one leader who's done.
And the Klingon even says, why are you here, human? You're spying for the Federation. And then he just starts speaking back in Klingon. So, yeah.
It's like, nah, bruv. And then she has to get out of there. Boom. She's had some problems, which we'll get into in a minute. And then we get a great little cameo from Baylock, who's had some treatment.
Oh, the actor's name is, Clint Howard. So, again, another nice nod to TOS. Put it in Bollock there.
Obviously, we all wished he was drinking Tanya. I mean, that would have been the most obvious reference.
He should have been sipping on Tranya, for sure.
They missed a beat there. Just have him. No, don't mention it. Just have it be the same liquid in the same glass. Just drink it, put it down, boom.
Yeah.
What a strange character actor to bring in this part. Like, seriously? But yeah, sure, why not? Worked. It was fun.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's means to end here, but it was very weird. Like, we're going to take you out of the action for a minute, and
it kind of kicked the pacing down a little bit. As I said, the pacing in this episode is very much hit and miss. It's kind of all over the place.
And I think at this point we're, like a third or halfway through, we've not had this great space battle, we've not had this great sense of pace, of scale, of, it's so, macro, it's so teeny. And it's like, wow, this is not what was, they're really putting a lot of time into this, and not, when's it going to build up, when's this, the whole episode is a steady flat line, and not in the negative sense of a flat line of death, but it gets to a certain point, but then just stays constant the entire time. Never really goes up, never really goes down. Just like, I'm just gonna hang out, and which is weird for a season finale. I normally have this two-part of this build-up, with this, end game, all good things. They're incredible. I know there's a franchise finales. I mean, you could take even just Equinox Part 1. I mean, it's like, oh my god, what an epic, season finale. And it's just like, okay.
Yeah, it just didn't feel at all like a season finale at all.
Well, it's the end of a chapter of a book, but a book that was heavily rewritten and fudged a bit, and there's more of that white marker paste they have to put over words than you could count. Redacting line. Yeah, there's more of that on the book page than always are words.
Well, yeah. Tilly tries the vapors, and I'm like, don't inhale, Tilly, and she did, and she passed right out. So, yeah. Bad idea.
And I was like, ooh, is Tiny Drink get rapey? Jesus, this is gone strange.
I love the look on his face, like,
She can't handle it. Yeah. And the next moment's quite nice. The tattoo that is like... That was a nice little sci-fi thing that didn't play a part, but it was cool. But it's very weird and random and cool to just... Yeah, Klingon tattoo. Well, I guess an Orion tattoo artistry place on Kronos in the embassy. Cool. Yeah, cool. Sure.
Yeah, and then we hear Burnham's backstory about how she was on Datari Alpha, and her parents wanted to go for a vacation on Mars, but she wanted to stay an extra 3 days to check out a supernova, because, that's what you do, right? And so the Klingons came in, murdered her family while she was hidden in a cabinet in the kitchen, and she could hear everything. Her dad got murdered first, they took more time with her mom, and then they sat down and ate their meal that they had already made, that her table. So.
And while commenting that it's been cooked and cooked food is disgusting.
Yeah.
Because Klingons don't like cooked food. All I could think about this scene at first was, supernova. They talk about the Hoba supernova. Can you see it from orbit?
Well, the thing that got me wasn't it established that the school was attacked early on?
Yes.
She was attacked at school, not...
Well... We see her attacked at a school, but I think that's also meant to be implied that's when she then gets... I guess that could be her taken into the Vulcan Academy after her parents were killed, and only at that point does Sarek then take her as her adopted daughter to save her and stuff. Before that, her parents die once. Like, she's in two bombing her, because it doesn't sound like a terrorist attack. The way they described it was very much like boots on the ground. We're going to stab everyone personally. That does not sound to me like a attack. That sounds like we're trying to steal something. Like, we're trying to get something from this planet. You just bomb it from orbit, or you shoot it with birds of prey. You don't tend to beam down troops and stab everyone for the sake of it. DS9, they did that to capture it. So it'd be interesting if there's more story there. Like, they were there to take something, and Burnham knows what it is but doesn't remember. It was just like a weird, and then they can relax enough to eat the meal. That's weird. You know what I mean? It's a very specific and very weird set of circumstances. It's graphic and it's horrible, but it's really... Where does that link to? A terrorist attack, but they then just hang out and eat the food?
Well, after a good day of killing, they could have been the last stop. Could have been killing all day and, wanted something to eat.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? I think they'll be setting up to something, because she's meant to be important, and that would actually give her something else,
Then Ash sees one of the Klingons pour a drink and light it, and he said that's reminiscent, or that's from a certain clan of Klingons.
Yeah, so, servants of Molor, which is nice.
So we might be able to find out where this shrine is.
At this point, with them being so far out of the visual canon, any little nod we'll appreciate. Any bone they throw at us, we're like, yay, you did something right again. Just sad that we're at that point. We expected it to be consistent. It's totally not consistent. So anything they show us, like the Starbase, like, yay, you did a good thing, because everything else is so wrong.
Exactly.
You get 10 points, but that's the default. That should be there. That's harsh conditioning. Giving credit for what is obviously there. That's sad.
Yeah, that should always. Yeah.
It's a bad job that a good thing is good.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
We should probably do a points-based system, like take out points for every time they do something wrong, visual canon-wise, and give it back every time they do something positive, and we'll make a chart of, wow, these 19 things are wrong, these 4 things are right. Well, they're still minus 176 points, but those 4 things are great. It's a bit harsh, but also fair. Hey, we judge it based on what we see on the screen. And what we see on screen now is a lovely corset.
Meh. It's alright. But yeah, she
fun scene.
Nice little interaction here between her and the Orions, and how she holds a gun to one's head and gets the information she needs. She finds out about the shrine at the same time that Tyler does, pretty much.
Yes, it's nice that everyone sort of finds out with Tyler and her and Tilly in a minute. That's kind of nice. They all do succeed in their own way.
Well, the next scene I found funny, where he's cutting the wrist thing off her, and she wakes up and she's like, "No, shame on you." She says, "Shame on you," and he goes, "You were asleep. I'm an Orion. What do you want?
That's so racist, man. That's terrible stereotyping. But yeah, it's funny.
And then she
Not the worst thing could have done.
Yeah, and she finds out that the volcanic caves are actually active. She goes, "Why? That would destroy the drone." So she decides to pop open the case, and it's not a drone. We find out it's a hydro bomb.
And then Giorgio knocks her out, takes the weapon, moves on, and then she recounts to Burnham and Ash how this will destroy the planet, basically.
Then we see, of course, from the trailer, because trailers are deceiving, we see the exploding planet, and I'm like, what is this? What's going on? And then it just it pulls out, and it says end of simulation.
Yeah, and then apparently another non-detected beam out again. Just annoys me. And then it's on to Cornwall, and apparently they can a long range holographic transmission, completely real time, can be now sent from across the galaxy, through Klingon space, through Kronos, into the Discovery. That's dumb. Now they would detect that sort of signal, wouldn't they?
Yes, unless they jumped out of the planet at some point, which they never indicated that they did.
Nope.
But yeah. Burnham faces off against Cornwall here and says, this isn't how we do things. This, all we have is our ideals. Is it time for another mutiny? To which everybody on the bridge stands up, and we are Starfleet. It was a very standing up for your ideals kind of moment, and I think it worked in the sense. I don't understand why Cornwall and everybody else agreed to this plan, because apparently this was part of their plan.
Well, this was the plan.
I know, but
get Giorgio down there with a bomb and blow up the planet. Plan.
Well, I think the Federation could then just say it was her that Giorgio did it, because she was from the Terran Empire, so she switched the plans out on them, because everyone else thought it was a drone, and everybody else on the away team thought it was a drone. So that's what I think they were going for. That it would turn out that she actually turned the tables on them, so that Federation couldn't be held liable for what happened.
But that's the opposite of what they're doing. They're trying to show strength. They're trying to say, no, we blew up your planet. Step down.
Yeah, but they don't have to tell the Klingons that. This is just the official.
Yeah, they do.
The official
yes,
record.
they do. That's the whole point. It's Discovery destroyed your planet. The war is over. You lost. If it's a natural disaster, then Federation are even more weak. Oh look, they managed to win because of natural disaster. No, I think that's very much the point. What I found annoying about this scene, is a little bit forced, the whole standing up thing. Like a little bit. It was a bit like, build to this moment, yay. And then, boy, Cornwall turns around in 1 second. It's like, oh, that was a bad plan, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, sorry, guys. What should we do now? Wow, that was easy. And you really... So she's definitely not Section 31. Otherwise, she would not have given two shits about this new... This is one of those moments that is too easy again, Write themselves into a corner. We can't really have complexity of characters, complexity of situation. It's got to be, do this. Well, we think this is wrong. Oh, yeah, it's wrong. What do we now? New plan. Just really, really easy,
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I said at the beginning. Everything seems so wrapped up so quickly, and this is just one of those things. It just this needed more time to, Anyway.
And then they get back to the planet. They beam back down, no problem, and they manage to find a way to the Trine Molor, and they find the tunnel, and then they have this conversation in a new set. Cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty ballsy move on Burnham's part.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, what, if you want to kill me, just shoot me. And she pulls the gun into her. You'll see me die again.
But the last time she thought his daughter, she was gonna kill her.
I know.
So she was ready to kill her real daughter. That made no sense because she was gonna kill her own daughter. This threat has no impact because this has already happened once. She already killed her daughter previously.
That's why I said this is ballsy on Burnham's part, because it's just dumb. Again,
there's
bad
no
story
rationale.
writing.
Yeah, and then she swaps and is like, oh yeah, it's fine.
Do
like,
do you want this coded to your DNA? And she's like, no. And then all of a sudden, L'Rell walks in the door, and I'm like, really?
Another authorized beaming.
Yeah. So we would assume that, of course, the Discovery is still under the planet, because even in my notes here at this point, I wrote, seems rather hastily convenient. Just the whole wrap up. Absolutely.
And again, no threat, no risk.
Yeah.
You know, no one noticed L'Rell in Takuma's armor. No one said, "Hey, is that a Takuma's servant? Oh, we should probably talk to her." Oh no, you're just being right down to this place. Just.
Well, she might have been beamed into the corridor, the hallway upstairs.
That's easy. That's easy. Well,
it's possible. Just I don't know why that's such a big deal for you with the transporters. This whole thing with Giorgio too, like, you're free to go. You know, don't kill anybody or cause any problems. You know, be good, Phillipa. And she goes, make sure I don't have to come for you. Basically, dumb. You just let the Emperor of the Terran Empire go in your universe.
And on Kronos. So now she has to do what? Kill Klingons, steal a Klingon ship to get out? And then get through Klingon space? I mean, is she gonna... it's a very odd... Yeah. At least offer a ride somewhere else.
Yeah, odd is one word for it, for sure.
And then guess what? The plan is to give L'Rell the bomb to kill Kronos. She has the kill switch now.
And then the whole episode comes to a grinding halt yet again for another we need to talk kind of moment. I just, again, the pacing here just, for me, just comes to a grinding halt, where we see Tyler, and Burnham saying their goodbyes. Isaac for your thoughts kind of thing. And basically Tyler says, she was right. I don't belong in either side. I'm going with L'Rell. I'm good. He said, I'm no good for either side, but maybe I can be good for both. By going with L'Rell, which is a very interesting concept. I don't know what they're going to do with that. If we're going to see them again.
And that's the fun part, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he did say to her in the scene earlier, that Vok always believed in you, and that obviously L'Rell's like, oh, you are in there somewhere, baby. It's actually quite cute, because, love triangle now, and he's picking the Klingons. And hey, I mean, if L'Rell takes Chancellor and L'Rell says no, he's fine, he's Torchbearer-ish, that's really interesting.
He's the first... augment we have who can infiltrate Federation space. Let's do this. Let's create more humans, Klingons that look human.
Take him apart, learn our mistakes. He's dead by episode 1, season 2. Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, having Tyler on the other side, that's really interesting, because then you really get the Klingon perspective. We've let L'Rell survive the entire season. You've got the Volks Tyler perspective. That they might actually be able to do what they promised in season 2. Maybe give us their perspective.
And he gives her the knot that he made, and I wrote ties them together because it's rope, and it's kind of a symbolic, keeping them together. But
see, that's interesting. I took it the other way. I took it as he said, this is the one thing that keeps me grounded as human. I'm giving it to you. I'm gonna have to go and embrace Vok, and you've got to keep my humanity. I can't be that guy anymore. Like, I'm not going to be. I'm going to be the Klingon version. Because he's going to have to be really vicious to fit in. Like, he's going to have to do some really bad things. But that's interesting. I mean, it works both ways. And then they kiss.
Yeah.
Yay.
And then a cool Klingon transporter effect.
And they're walking, and that's fine for Klingons, probably, because they've got better Klingon beaming technology. Just saying. At least just still. But whatever.
And then we see her in, I guess, some kind of council chambers.
It's just
or
some place.
Cave system.
I'm not going to call it the council chambers, because that's dumb.
I know. But she's trying to unite. Her thing is she wants to try to unite the houses by threatening the planet. I have a bomb. I can destroy the whole planet. You guys have to get along now. Oh, by the way, the fleet that's heading to Earth, I want that back. I want that called back now. Like, really? Again, I put here again, super convenient, because the whole fleet pulls back from Earth at the last second No, they're there. This is probably one house out of the 24 that's decided to take over Earth to kind of get, the glory of the kill, so to speak, and kind of up their house in the eyes of everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to turn around just because. I don't know. Maybe they would. It's just it was dumb. Again,
why isn't a Klingon just shooting her in the back right now and taking the device?
Well, because it's coded to her DNA. Not that they know that, but
Exactly. So it can't blow up if she doesn't click on it, which means that the threat's ended.
yeah. So there's a bomb under Kronos forever, I guess.
Yeah, really. I mean, I get it in a sense, but it's very much they wrote themselves into a corner. They had to work out a way to end the war, and they left themselves 14 minutes to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say there's 10 minutes left, guys. We got to get this wrapped up.
What do we have left? We have Laurel. Bomb? Planet?
That'll work. The Klingons don't want to see their planet destroyed, so they'll listen to her.
I wish, like, the way they presented her, and even up until 2 episodes ago, was still the radical. They've done nothing to her to make her pull back from that in any meaningful way beyond, you weren't as cowardly as I thought. You know what I mean? Like, for her to say, wars... She was so indoctrinated, she wouldn't... There's been no build-up in her character to put her to this point.
But the fact that she has a bomb that can destroy the whole planet, to her, it's the unification tool. She can get all the... she can have Takuma's message come to life by uniting all the houses because of a common threat. I think that's her thinking.
Yes, I need to go back and watch the first couple because I the entire time got the same sense she was fully with the plan of unity through killing everyone, not unity. It was about she was fully in his message. You know, every episode they should have been pulling her back from that, but his message was exclusively unity by murdering the Federation. There was no like the reason they weren't going to be united is because the Federation was going to take them all over. She hasn't had the growth to make her be not a radical anymore. Like, if anything, she should have said, you know what, we're going to kill Earth first, then we'll unite, because that's going to really help us, then they can't be a villain. Like, it was, again, easy, coincidentally, like, rewrite her character in the last 5 minutes situation. Just too easy, But, hey, Laurel, House of None, now, blackmailer of the Klingon Empire.
And with that, the war is over. We hear Burnham's narration. We get a nice zoom into Earth. A really cool shot of Paris. I mean, this is a futuristic Earth. This is awesome. But
and it's very JJ built or not.
Yeah,
it's futuristic. It's got its own unique feel, which is just future.
Yeah,
but it's not like that exactly.
But with one word of dialogue, the war's over. Everything's hunky dory. I mean, and then she talks to her mom.
That was nice.
Yeah, and Sarah comes up and says, I wanted to give you this myself. They said I could. Your record has been expunged. The president has approved your pardon. You are now a commander again. And he puts the rank pin back on her, which was a nice touch. And then the scene at the UFP Federation headquarters. There's some nice nods. First of all, there's a Tellarite beside Admiral Cornwall that looks like a Tellarite. Actually looks very TOS or Enterprise Tellarite.
And in between, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Also, her campaign pins very much like Kirk's.
That's the canon it should be. Again, that's what it should be. So there's no credit for doing what you should do.
Yeah, and if you notice, behind them there were some people in like gray or light gray blue tunics. They were off camera and they were not
very
in focus.
Yeah.
But they're very very cage like uniformed, which was.
We might be reaching, but yeah, people have said that, and it's like they've got the more turtlenecky, and the fabrics don't have the lining. That would have could have done with like 10% more in focus, because I was looking back at the crowd and thinking, well, are we going to see other things? Because that's the most obvious thing in the world.
But no, they're all wearing the same uniform. There should have been like half of them with mixed in.
No, actually, if you look Actually, it's interesting. So the front row, right? You've got most of Discovery at the back. And you've got a lot of Andorians. They really stand out. But if you look, the two people right behind them kind of look like we're in Kelvin a little bit. But it's definitely a different colour. And if you look at the right left-hand set, the top or the bottom few, I mean, you can see a Vulcan and human side by side, the Discovery uniform, and then the not Discovery uniform. And that is not Discovery uniform. So that's probably...
Yeah, if you zoom in, it is very much like just a sweater, very cage-like.
Yeah, and they've still got deltas on, so they're still officers, because you could argue they could just be civilians like Mana Grayson's thing is. But if you look, and there are a few alternate people in the crowd that are not wearing. It's just like one or two just sprinkled, but there is, in the front row, some people. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely just, I wouldn't mind if the next step is the blue to say we'll transition from the fabrics of the old into the new, but keep the blue. That's the color. And then the last step is the blue to multiple colors, because that'd be a decent evolution. It goes around. That would be a nice Enterprise NX-01 to not. But I wish you more or less out of focus. But now pointing out, it's like, oh, they are there. Credit for the canon that should be in the timeline. I mean, it's like, yes.
And it's got to be said about this scene too that Cadet Tilly is now Ensign Telly. She's in the officer training program.
Yep.
Hugh got a medal.
That was sad.
Posthumously, yeah.
Yeah.
And Saru's the first Kelpian to get a Medal of Honor, which is a nice little touch as well. So.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't all get a promotion, though. It would have been nice if they all had like a promotion across the board. I was expecting kind of Captain Saru at this point, but whatever.
Yeah.
Because we know...
Well, they're going to Vulcan to get their new captain.
Which is interesting, because does that imply he's a Vulcan? Because that would be cool.
Well, not necessarily. Maybe just somebody that's on Vulcan and they need to pick up.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then the next scene is fantastic. Another great beauty shot. A space scene. And first time in Star Trek history, the moon has lights on it. It actually, you can see Lake Armstrong. You can see all the
Is that the first time?
Yep, because in TNG, when they go back, it's just the moon. It's one of those inconsistencies of Star Trek.
Pretty sure I showed it once in like Voyager or DS9, like once, and it was like they actually did it for one time. But yeah, they did what they meant to do. You're right. Although a lot of these weird space stations, it's good to see it in orbit be very busy, but it's kind of like weird to see so many like, that's a new design.
Well, they look like orbital defense platforms. They look like phaser turrets, like we were talking about last time. It could be because of the Klingons advancing. They were building these, knowing that was going to be eventually hit. So
yeah, sure.
But yeah, great CG finally. Thank God.
Again, really dark. They love their zero ambient. Way too dark, guys, but it's nice. And then we get the resolution, I guess, to the Spore Drive plot in one line of dialogue. Yep. So we're going at warp. Yes, well, Starfleet is committed to using non-human test subjects, so conventional warp it is for now. Oh.
And he's fine with that, and that's cool. It's a nice way to approach it. I mean, they still have the ability to use it if they need to, but
it's back to ethicalness. But why is the ship? What's the purpose of the ship then? Because the ship was built around the Spore Drive. If you can't use a Spore Drive, what's the purpose of the ship? Just a random explorer? Well, it's not designed for that. It's got small crew with lots of spore labs
and science labs.
Yeah,
not spore labs, science labs.
No. I mean, it's got those big warehouse-sized rooms with spores in, which are huge, which are not any other starship. Well, so if they're repurposed, you've got space. But
assuming that the spores actually regrew on the ship, they seeded the moon. They didn't necessarily bring any spores back on board the ship.
Well, that's what I mean. If they're repurposed, just take fuel spores. Obviously, yeah, it leaves them with the ability to use it. But it's one of those weird things. Like they should have said, like, oh, we're refitting the Spore Drive away, and because the ship is designed around the Spore Drive.
One of the most interesting things is early on, the admirals had said that they were fitting a lot of the fleet with the Spore Drive technology. So that's kind of like one of those plot holes that Discovery has that was mentioned and never touched on.
Because they knew they'd need more than one Stamets or more than tardigrade, so obviously they knew so if they already built 10 ships with this ability, they must have thought, oh, well, let's work on finding... again, genetic modification It's weird. It's a very lazy way of not having it. The no spores would have been much better, but it leaves them the ability to use it still. But it's that secret out. Any battle, they can just say, Stamets, quickly get to your station, because the only reason he's on the ship is the spore technician. He's not chief engineer. That was the engine room. He's just there to monitor the spores, which the ship is designed around. So why is he on the ship now, if not just to be the spore man in case he needs a spore? Like, the purpose of the ship doesn't work outside of the show. And if you might as well spore places if you have a non-limited spore. It's weird. It's fine, but it's like, oh yeah, that's how we canonically make it make sense. We just don't use it because we choose not to use it, even though it allowed us to win the war without firing a shot.
Yeah. Anyway, so at this point, I was getting very discouraged because yes, everything had been wrapped up rather quickly. It's coming to the end of the episode, and I'm like, if they end here like on a no cliffhanger note, I'm gonna be super disappointed.
At least it's a positive note, uplifting Federation.
It was
Star Trek feeling, you could say.
Very much back to Gene's vision, as I put down, but they zoom into the bridge. They're going to warp
with a cage style shot. It's worth mentioning.
Vulcan. Yeah.
And Sarek's all happy. That's fun to see. He's like, "Oh, I'm so excited to get to. Yeah. I'm so excited about the Vulcan. Oh, it's always nice. It's nice."
And as soon as I heard the incoming distress call, I'm like, yes! I'm like, okay, now what's going to happen? So now I'm on the edge of my seat again, and I got that excitement back. And this whole scene, NCC 17, I was like, yes! I looked at Sylvia, and I was super excited at this point.
It's 1705 Excalibur. Huh?
But I expected it to be what I had kind of predicted for the past couple weeks, where it's going to be like, hey, we have an incoming hail, it's the Enterprise, credits. So that we have to wait to see what it looks like. But no, Burnham looks at Sarek because she knows that Spock's on there,
which is awesome.
Because they said, oh, it's incoming hail from Christopher Pike, which is garbled.
Yep.
But she says it's the Enterprise, and they zoom out, and
there's the Enterprise.
Dude, the music starts. I see the red Bizarre collectors, and I watched this last minute of footage about 15 times within the space of 10 minutes. And I have a 60-inch big TV, so I got right up to it. I'm looking at all the details, but we'll talk about the details later. Anyway, beautiful ship. We get the classic Enterprise. A few changes, of course, but very much in line with. This is a reboot done properly. This is how JJ's Enterprise should have looked. And it's not Discoverified, so I'm very happy because we expected it if they did show the Constitution to look way off. But this falls much more in line with. Now, there are a few issues with sizing and stuff when it faces off against Discovery, but it could be camera angles.
Oh, well.
We got to talk about that in another episode.
Although, again, we can see the exact scaling of the windows, and they look exactly the same as a normal ship, so...
Yeah.
Don't think you can really... Anyway, yeah, my reaction to this was beautiful. Like you said, I was like, that's a beautiful-looking ship, and you can so easily get Connies wrong. We've seen a lot of Connies. Like, that is a genuinely beautiful Connie. It looks like a Connie, feels like a Connie, just a bit updated, but also and a few altered angles and curves and tweaks. But yeah, it's lovely. It's actually a respectfully done visual reboot, which was we've seen 3 of them in this show, and thank God they didn't butcher this one. I said when they saw the Defiant, they can only do it wrong. No, they held themselves back. They didn't do what they normally do, and they did it mostly right. And there's only a few elements that really are different, different to the cage version or to the production, that you can massage back into it. It's more the hull, but that's modern versus whatever. They obviously showed restraint or just respect, and yeah, that shot is beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful shots they've done in the show so far, by far. Beautiful curve, and it was a hell of a note to end on. Maybe it shows that season 2 we're going to respect canon and show that evolution and make season 1 feel more justified. And
well, we gotta find out what the incoming priority distress call was for. We gotta meet Pike, meet
remember,
Spock.
Emergency distress call, 7 seconds from Earth or from Jupiter, so they're probably in the belt still. They're still in the solar system. We didn't get that far. So what's the emergency priority? But Discovery's the only ship in the quadrant that can save the Enterprise because they're that close to it. Because literally they haven't moved. It was like 10 seconds at warp. Even fast
but
warp.
that doesn't mean anything. You know that even.
No, but you saw in real time. He's still standing looking at the view screen. You're not going to look at the view screen for 20 minutes waiting.
It doesn't matter. You know how these things work in
it's
in
next to
Discovery
Earth.
and in JJ verse.
No, it's a next to Earth situation, or they're dumb. But guys, and the last thing we got was the actual TOS credit music, which was a nice surprise, and sounded great. Tell props to that as well. I was like, wow, it ended like Star Trek.
Yep, ended with giving me goosebumps, and kind of welled up a little bit. It's like, oh, that's awesome! It's so beautiful. And they did a fantastic job, and it's a good send off to season 1 of Discovery.
Yep.
Now, did they write themselves into a corner now? Are they going to have to, because now they're kind of using the Enterprise as a crutch for this new series a little bit? Because I'm going to assume that maybe 2 or 3 episodes of the first season 2 are going to be revolving around the Enterprise. And what's happened, or is it just going to be a quick, hey, we're having problems with this thing, we're heading back to Earth, can you guys go take care of it? Yep. And then the Enterprise is gone. It's like, hey, you saw it, now we're not giving you anything else, guys. Is it going to be one of those situations, or is it going to be a get to meet Spock and have a Burnham and Spock interaction? That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, there was an interview with the people behind the scenes, and they were saying, the show's called Star Trek Discovery, and the Enterprise won't outstretch it. We're not saying they're going to meet Spock. Don't assume we are by this meeting, but it was a big elephant in the room. We had to address it, so we thought, why not just rip the Band-Aid off and just show it in the we're gonna talk about it in the same period, and to show that we're linking to prove we're canon. Although proving we're canon by showing a ship that's not canonical is a bit of a laugh. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that's not what it looked like at this time period. So. I guess they refitted, because this is meant to be like, again, I guess a year after Cage. So a year after Cage, it got refitted to this, and then got refitted again to TOS. I mean, there's good and bad bits with it. But this also proves it's a visual reboot. Like, proves it's not Prime canon. Like,
it kind of does a little bit, yeah.
This is the one thing that we know exactly how it looks every year in many iterations. So this proves it's not the Prime that we know, but also it's so close that, it's tricky. And I'll talk about it later. But yeah, I can. Well, we'll do the season 2 predictions, I'm sure. But yeah, I think it's, in Supergirl season 2, they had Superman come in for like the first 3 episodes, and it was just like he's here, he's gonna help us with the mission, but there's a he has to go back and save his own area. And it wasn't a problem because they're different. They have different strengths, different weaknesses. Maybe the Discovery, because it's new warp drive, can go faster, so that's a reason why Discovery has to go do something. Or there's reasons, there's things. So I don't think it'll devalue Discovery per se. It's just more of a warship and more of a a bigger warship with more people, and hopefully it'll be respected, and given the visual reboot that it deserves, that conforms to the outside, because they got it really close.
And we'll definitely be talking about that in a separate episode, just on the Enterprise itself and the details and the changes.
Even done enhanced brightness shots because I had to.
Absolutely.
So, closing thoughts on the episode, Stuart, and what's your review?
Closing thoughts, like I said, it didn't feel like a season finale for me. It didn't really follow through with what they had promised the previous episode. It very much was a quick wrap up, tidy, wipe our hands from the situation we got ourselves into. Let's start afresh for season 2. It just, like I said, pacing all over the place. A few good character moments, a few good things, and 1 or 2 nice little nods to TOS, which is great. And then the best of all, the Enterprise at the end. So overall, unfortunately, I'd have to give the whole episode 7.5, maybe 7. The last minute was like 1,000, but that didn't make up for the rest of the episode, in my opinion. There was just a lot of loose ends that are still need to be tied up. Laurel, Ash, Phillipa. There's just too much going on right now. It wasn't well done. It wasn't a good package.
Yeah, it was the epitome of we've written ourselves into a corner with a season that we've had to swap, change, and cannibalize. So for what it was, like, it managed to flow okay and get to the point where it needed to be. But yeah, it was way too easy, and there was no threat. And like you said, for the promise of the last episode, it was completely, you know, it has a. It says something about this whole show is they're so focused on people, they ignore the situation, they ignore the grander scale, they ignore the scope of what they're doing, they ignore the tension, they ignore the threat, they ignore the universe, but focus on the mini. And I know that previous Treks didn't do that as much, but look at DS9. You had these big situations, and you had these great characters, and you still felt every episode, oh, a big thing's happening, oh. And in this amazingly huge thing, and it all boils down to getting information in a bar and blowing up a thing, but not really. You know, where's these fleet shots? Where's this? You know, where's this Saru communicating saying, Burnham, we've only got 7 minutes till the fleet gets to Earth, and we pan out, we see all these 50 ships start to come towards Earth, and we see the Federation fleet meeting to greet it, and we see this, and the Admiral says, "Come on, Saru, you know, you got sick, you know, our weapons platforms are charging," but that, you know what I mean? There's all this. They could have really like given this really amazing sense of something, and no, you get none of that. It's as if it's another walk in the park day, and yet given this, it's a symptom of a poorly thought out war with a poorly thought out season, with a poorly thought out execution, and a poorly thought out ending because it was rewritten and rushed. But season 2, they can plan it properly. They've already built the sets. They can save money. They can put real money into the CG and the effects and plan that. So, you know, mediocre season with some good bits, but promise for season 2 and fan feedback and you know, reel everything in more. But at least they did a Connie good. And I'm gonna give this an 8. But I think if we're averaging out, then 7.5. We're doing a 7 and the 8. It was fun. I enjoyed most of it, but yeah, really easy conclusion, and you know, that could just be lazy writing / 8 minutes left, but then they could have added 10 more minutes. Had 10 more minutes to the show and just have this tension build, and you know, even to the point, it wouldn't have been cool if the Admiral had, you know, said, Saru, get back to Earth now, and as they jump in, you see this massive fleet, and all these ships are about to start fighting, you know. Like, he has to leave on the planet, and now you got the tension of, like, we can't go back, we can't, you know.
Well, it would have been cool, too. You had to have L'Rell on the Discovery and talk to the Klingon fleet, going, I have a bomb, which will destroy your homeworld. I need you to turn around. That might have been more impactful than having what happened happen, because, yeah, the fleet just, there's Earth, and they just peel off. It's like, no.
And
I think that would have been way better.
Five ships is not visually enough to say they can destroy Earth. It's a suicide fleet, is what it is. Again, some weaknesses, but just symptomatic of the whole show. These are very similar weaknesses to the rest of the season, so nothing new. But season 2, excited. So guys, if you want to support this and help us in our gap between season 1 and season 2 of Discovery, so we can keep producing great content, looking at ships, stations, technology, and episodes, both of this show and of all of the Treks, then please go to our Patreon, which is a monthly donation scheme. A lot of YouTubers use it to support us, support themselves and what they do, and allow them to do it all the time as their full-time job, which is what I do, and it's just a part-time or a one-time donation. A thank you at Trekyards.com. You click on that donate button, you give a little bit. So thank you for maybe our work on the season. Maybe we've enjoyed all of our hours and hours of work looking at Discovery and our reviews. Give us a little thank you and help us plan new and cool things.
That's right. And if you want to help out another way you can share this video around, definitely head on over to Facebook. Check out our Facebook group. A lot of great discussions on there all the time. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, as that all helps out with the algorithms on the YouTube things and things like that. So, and definitely share on any platform that you guys want to get the word across about Trekyards. So, until next time, guys, put your comments down below what you thought about this episode, and we look forward to reading them. And until then, I am Captain Foley.
And I am Commander Cockens. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.